Let's get corrupted. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Joe with Meteoric Serpents coming back at you with another episode of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. Guys, it's great to be back. This is the second week in a row we're doing a pre recorded episode. So the last few episodes have been in pretty rapid succession. By the time you're watching this, we're recording this over a week early. So, yeah. If it's your first time listening, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on episode 73 of Colubrid Corruption. As always, it's always cool to see that episode number go up. Just love doing this. Love talking to passionate Colubrid keepers. And yeah, that's what this podcast is all about. And if you want to listen to this more, besides on YouTube, you could check this out on your favorite audio podcasting platform like Apple, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube Music, all that good stuff. But yeah, in terms of what's going on around here, just before I do the other stuff, I guess not much has changed. I just put out a cool YouTube video at the time of this recording. You should definitely go check that out. It's on the channel. Come back after you watch this and go check that video out of the rhino rat snake enclosure. Pretty happy about that. Coxeye eggs are still looking good, so also happy about that. They look like, they're good eggs, so I expect them to go all the way. So yeah, that's what's up. And guys, make sure you support USARK Florida. Those are the organizations that fight for our rights to keep our reptiles. I do also want to give a shout out to if you're going to support something and you're about the Colubrid community, the CCR Conservation Corps, I need to ask the guys for a flyer about that because I do want to promote it. That's going fully towards, USARK is fighting against legislation, right? But there's not a lot of public, reptile hobby, public conservation efforts. The CCR Conservation Corps is doing just that. It's going directly towards Colubrid conservation. So I wanted to shout the guys out and I want to start promoting that on the show. So I believe you could get there on Colubrid and colubroidradio.com. I believe I have to check in on the details of that. But yeah. Also, guys, first link in the description below does go to the Meteoric Serpents Patreon. A lot of cool perks that you get with Patreon. For starters, you get pre-recorded episodes early like this. So Patreon members will be getting this right after this episode is done, over a week early, which is cool. A Discord group chat exclusive, behind the scenes access of what's going on here in my collection, sneak peeks before the public eyes and all that good stuff. Also discounts on any animals I produce or have available. So lots of cool stuff, merch, all that good stuff. So yeah, definitely feel free to check that out. Again, first link in the description below. And of course, I want to thank our sponsor, fulviusapparel.com. Go to fulviusapparel.com if you're looking for your newest reptile apparel. Shirts, hats, hoodies. They got mugs too. Lots of cool designs. Justin puts a lot of effort into making those. And I think they're super cool. I'm wearing one right now. I love my Fulvius Apparel shirts. So definitely go check that out. Support someone who's, doing cool stuff for the community. Plus get yourself some cool herp related merch. So yeah, fulviusapparel.com. Use code CC10 for 10% off your order. That's an exclusive discount code for Colubrid Corruption listeners. And yeah. And then, of course, it's coming up fast. Colubrid Fest, September 12th to 14th. I will be there. I will have a table. What I will have on that table is still undetermined, but yeah, it's going to be exciting, guys. I'm really excited to be there. Hope to meet a lot of you and see a lot of old and new faces. So yeah. And before we bring our guests out for tonight, of course, we have our hashtag Colubrid Corruption of the week. I had to scroll pretty deep to find something I wanted to show this time around. Let's see. Yep, we got this. Screen's laggy. It's about to show. There we go. Some cool little hog noses hatching. Picture of pythons. I met Dan a few weeks ago at the Long Island show. So Dan, it was cool meeting you. If you're listening to this, shout out to you. Go follow Picture at Pythons on Instagram. But yeah, hatched out some nice looking hog noses. So guys, use hashtag Colubrid corruption on your Colubrid posts, and you have a chance of getting featured on, once a week here on the show. So yeah. All right. And as for our guest tonight, my little intro before I bring him on, we've been following each other for the past little while. I've really been enjoying what he's doing, the kind of animals he's breeding. A lot of cool stuff. Following off of some previous guests we've had on this show, and come to find out, he's even younger than I am, and doing this on a larger scale than I am, which I always find really, really impressive. That's why this isn't even a newly corrupted episode. He's just young and he's killing it. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Grayson from West Coast Colubrids to the stage here. My screen will stop lagging. What's up, Grayson? How are you?
Hey, Joe, doing good. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate the kind words there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, dude. So was excited to bring you on. And I know we're going to have a lot to talk about tonight, a lot of cool topics and some perspective that I probably wouldn't get from a lot of my other guests. You probably have a similar perspective to mine, just overall us being around the same age group. So, yeah, excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me, for sure.
Yeah. So, for those who are a bit unfamiliar with you, feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got into reptiles, and how that kind of got you to where you are today.
Sounds good. Yeah, my name's Grayson Casey. I am 19. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I started breeding about 2 or 3 years ago. I've been keeping reptiles all my life. I grew up in Arizona from a couple months old up until I was about 4 or 5, and kind of how I got into it is my dad would go catch lizards with me outside, and he got me my first bearded dragon, and I saw my first ever gopher snake under a playground when I was like 2 or 3, and it really struck the passion. So I've kind of kept reptiles off and on my whole life, and when I got into high school, I kind of stepped back a little bit because I didn't know there was such a huge industry, and I didn't know everyone in the hobby like shared the same passion as me. So I kind of thought it was weird, and I was focused on other things, but truthfully, I got my girlfriend and she really supported me, and
Nice.
kind of showed that it's okay, and you can follow your passions and really do what you like. So got into it really heavily, and kind of when I turned like 17, how I got into what I'm breeding now is I got my first pair of Arizona Mountain King snakes from Rod McLeod with Highland Herps, and we started talking and kind of just text back and forth, and I ended up buying like majority of what he was getting out of, which is the Mex and the Grey Rice. So that kind of sparked my love for the Mexicana complex right there. But yeah, I don't keep only snakes. I keep geckos and monitored lizards, and I kind of got to hone in. I like everything, so it's difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting through community college right now for business.
Nice.
So I'm living at home. Shout out to my parents. They're super supportive, and obviously don't love a million reptiles of the house, but they definitely support me, and they've been a big help. So shout out to them for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if I remember correctly, when I had Joel on, I'm pretty sure he gave you a shout out as well. You've been pretty close with Joel Reet.
Yeah, dude. Well, he's a big mentor of mine. We talk all the time. I was just in Idaho a couple weeks ago. I was supposed to go down and see him, but I was in Boise and he's down in Pocatello, so it was like a 3-hour drive, and I couldn't make it. But
gotcha.
Yeah, I started talking to Joel. It was crazy because I would watch him on YouTube, right, and it was super inspiring. And then I saw a Facebook post and I texted him, ended up buying a pair of pyros from him, and then we just started talking since then. And he's been a really big help for me. So yeah, shout out to Joel as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And before we really dive deep into your collection, kind of because it's the topic at hand right now. What is it like, or what was it like, getting into reptiles in this day and age, being the age that you are, and I'll say we are, because like from my perspective, I think even still, and I feel like I've definitely matured a bit in the hobby too, but like I just still have a lot of this like young excitement where I want to talk to everyone. I want to like not always inquire on animals that maybe I'm not actually interested in buying, but like I'm just really excited about things, and it's always just me
Yeah.
talking and talking. And I, there's older heads who may not appreciate it, but like how were you welcomed by these other breeders? Because it sounds like you had a pretty good experience coming in.
Yeah, so, for the most part, I was intimidated a lot in the beginning, but, like, everyone's been very encouraging and polite and respectful and helpful. I ask a lot of questions to a lot of people, and they give me good advice. I've made a lot of friends and great connections, so overall, it's been a really good experience. Obviously, there's still sometimes when you have people that just aren't the nicest to you, but generally speaking, man, everyone's been very supportive, very helpful. Like I said, I was in high school when I started this, and
Yeah,
being young, obviously, like you don't have the same you're not looked you're not looked at with the same respect that, someone that's been in the hobby for 10, 20 years. But yeah, I've learned a lot. I know my stuff, and I think that I'm kind of begin to gain some respect, which I really, really appreciate. And everyone who supports me is super appreciated, obviously. So
of
yeah,
course.
it's been good overall.
Yeah, that's awesome. And as you were getting in and learning about things and what you wanted to keep and how to keep it and breed it, like what were some of your best resources? Was it pure mentorship? Were you doing any online research? Like what was your approach there?
I would do a lot of online research. I remember I did a whole paper in high school about the Mexicana complex, and I read a whole article. I think it was called like Sierra.com or something. I forget, but my main knowledge honestly comes from Rod and Joel. I would ask them a lot of questions. Rod would send me like long paragraphs just explaining everything, and brumation was scary for me, right? Because obviously you're sending your snakes in a cold, dark room for months without food and water. So I was like
Yep.
kind of freaked out, and but they really walked me through a lot of it. Um, you just had John Lasseter on not too long ago. I ask him questions like weekly, pretty much. I'm still texting
Yeah.
him all the time. So just mainly just from other people, to be honest. I still watch videos and do a lot of research online, but the bulk of my um, experience and trial and error honestly comes from asking people. I'm on a lot of the Facebook groups, and I post quite a bit asking questions if I need to. And
Yeah.
like I said, everyone's quick to respond and very, very helpful. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that kind of segues a bit into your collection, especially with like that mentorship. But what was it about the Mexicana complex, king snakes that really drew your interest? That was what you, because I would say that's kind of what you've honed in on colubrid wise for the most
Yeah.
part, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting into other stuff as well, but for the most part, that's what I've been breeding the most of. And that's the
Yeah.
bulk of my Colubrid collection. So, like I said, I got those Arizona Mountain Kings. I wasn't even really thinking about breeding too much. I just really liked them, and I thought they were cool. And the thing about the Pacific Northwest is at the shows here, you don't really see a lot of Lamprey and jet. Like you see California Kings and some of the more common stuff, but the Mexicana complex is pretty difficult to find. And I wasn't
Yeah.
like on Morph Market all the time, right? I wasn't like looking on Morph Market. I didn't know a bunch of people, so I decided to buy this pair of king snakes, and I was talking to Rod, and I was also at one of the shows, and I saw my first ever. It was a trio of San Luis Potosi king snakes. It was a Mex, and that's also where I learned about payment plans. So I was younger, right? They were pretty expensive, so I got a payment plan, and I ended up getting a 1.2. I still have a 1.1, and one of the females passed away in brumation. That was like my first like
Uh,
unexpected death experience. So, but you live and you learn. But yeah, so I saw that pair of Ultra Granites, or that trio. I bought those. And then, like I said, just talking to Rod and Joel, watching his videos, um, they kind of got me into Durango Mountain King snakes, which I love those to death. They're really, really cool as well. And
nice.
yeah, I don't know. It's just they're different. They're slower moving snakes. They're pretty chill. The colors are amazing. There's a lot of variety, and they're easy to keep. So yeah, I really really enjoy them. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a good segue. Let's talk about your Durango Mountains first then. You want to kind of talk about the type of animals you decided to pick and like what you're working with in particular. I'm gonna pull up your Instagram here as we kind of talk about them. But yeah,
sounds good. Yeah. So I have a decent group of them. I think I have um, a 2.4 or 5, and I have a 1.1 of younger animals. Actually, I have 2 pairs of younger animals that I produced last year, but I'm into the morph stuff right now. Like I said, I bought pretty much the rest of what Rod was selling off, and
okay,
they're older animals. I have some younger ones as well, but I like the super hypos a lot, which is kind of the 3 recessive genes that are available right now altogether, is what we think it is pretty much. But they're really cool. I would like to get some wild type stuff because it's harder to find nowadays. A lot of the gear I have genes mixed in, which is fine, but just the pure wild type is hard to find. But yeah, I have a good group of them. I produced quite a few last year. They're really hard to get feeding, which is kind of the problem with Mexicana complex king snakes, but I kind of figured it out. This year, I don't know what happened though. I slugged out on all 4 clutches I was supposed to get. I think it's because I didn't brumate them as long as I should have. A lot of the Montane stuff you're supposed to leave in an extra like few weeks or a month or so, and I didn't do that. But yeah, I was kind of confused. So you live and you learn. Obviously, I'm still learning stuff, so that was kind of an experience this season. But um, yeah, dude, they're really really cool.
oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
My
think you got it out there.
I think my computer took a shit on itself, so my
No
apologies.
worries,
It's
man.
still record. It's still recording here, so we're still good. We didn't lose any of that. My bad.
Okay, sounds good.
Um, I was trying to pull up your Instagram, and then that's when it just went haywire on me. And it looks like StreamYard had like a mini update as it kicked me out, which I guess is probably why. But
Okay, gotcha.
sorry about that, folks. You probably heard a little bit of a pause there. I don't know what happened. Um, but yeah, dude, that's cool. And yeah, I've really grown to admire the Mexicana complex. I've never been super tapped in with king snakes in general. They were just never really my thing. I'm a rat snake guy, and I have no
Mhm.
problem saying that. Um, but seeing especially all the people I brought to the show, including yourself, some of these animals, they're just super super cool.
Yeah, like the colors are insane. Their temperaments are pretty good. Like, in my opinion, a lot of king snakes are the perfect pet snake for anybody, and they're easygoing, man. I really really enjoy them.
Yeah, cool. Um, I don't know why this is being so laggy. I apologize to visual watch.
I think we might have cut out again.
Dude, I am so sorry. I think StreamYard's a little bit broken. It looks like I probably can't share my screen this episode. So I apologize to both you and the visual audience.
No worries.
Something's going wrong on the technical end. And I apologize to everyone who heard that pause, but hopefully I'm good now. So I'm sorry. But yeah, sorry. I was saying like, yeah, the Mexicana have been really interesting. And king snakes do make great pets. Obviously, like you mentioned, some of these animals are just hard to get going, but once they're established, you would say they're pretty much golden, right?
Yeah, so after you get the first, like, initial baby stage done with and they're eating frozen thawed rodents or whatever you wanna feed them, really, they're pretty bulletproof. They don't go off food. During the winter months, sometimes they can, especially the montane stuff, and if you're brumating them, they can kinda stop feeding for a while. Like, some of my adult Durangos, I'll feed them, stop feeding for a couple weeks before brumation, and then once they get out of brumation, like, one of my males won't eat until, like, May, like, an extra month or 2 after, which is weird,
Okay,
but, like, generally speaking, as a pet, if you're having it as a pet, yeah, they're not gonna have any problems, like, they're pretty bulletproof snakes, so,
gotcha.
yeah.
Awesome. Um, I know another big one in your collection. You have quite a bit of the pyros, which you mentioned earlier. Which are animals I always liked. Back at the pet store job, which I've talked about a billion times, we had at least one or two pyros there, and I always thought they were pretty cool. And they stay a nice size, and they're just really pretty animals. So, if you want to kind
Definitely.
of give what you're working with on that side of the collection there.
Yeah, so I actually don't have too many Arizona Mountain Kings. I have 2 pairs and I have a Utah Mountain King. I still can't pronounce the Latin name on that one, but, um, I have some Applegate Hypots, which are super cool. That's just or Applegate specials, whatever people wanna call them. That just takes all the black away. So I have a clutch of those incubating right now, and then I have my Bell line Santa Rita pair, which is the first kinda montane king tank I ever got. They're 2022s, and they're getting pretty big. I think I'll breed them next year. And, my main goal for kinda Pyramilana in general is I wanna get every, like, subspecies that I can. So, like, Utah and
Okay,
New Mexico, I wanna get some, like, Zonata and the stuff from California as well. So, we'll see. Um, I
nice.
was I was kinda planning on moving to Arizona at some point, and the thing is their laws are kinda different with native stuff, so it might be harder. Like, you can't
Oh,
really breed and sell a bunch of native stuff there, so I might be changing gears there because I really do like a lot of the native stuff in Arizona, so, we'll see, but for now, yeah, I wanna try to get as much as I can outside of Arizona and more like New Mexico and Utah and California, so we'll see what I can find. I'm into locality stuff a lot too. So the morphs are cool, but I right now, especially with like Alterna and Paramilana, I'm trying to stick with locality and find some pure like locality stock, which would be pretty cool.
yeah, definitely. Awesome. And then you have uh the San Luis Potosi king snakes, the Mex Mex, um, working
Yeah.
with
So
those guys and some of like the granites and ultra granite stuff, I
yeah, so
assume.
that's probably those are probably my biggest like project right now. I think I have the most mech necks out of like my collection. I think those are the bulk of them. And I
Okay.
have a couple like exciting projects that I'm trying to work towards. I have like a patternless line sort of thing going on, which is kind of what Rod developed. Took him a long time, but it's basically where they're like so ultra granite that the kind of pattern on the neck and the back kind of fades away. So I just had a clutch of those hatch out, and they're pretty cool. And last year I produced the picture that I sent you for the thumbnail. That granite Mex Mex, it's
Oh
super like
yeah.
white. So normally they're more like a gray silvery color, and that one's super white. So I held it back, and I'm hoping to take that look further. If I can, I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but if I can produce another one of those and or find another one and keep trying to get that white look to look more prominent, that'll be super cool. But I really like Mex Mex. In my opinion, they're similar to like Leonis, where you get a clutch and you don't know what you're gonna get. Like there's so much variety.
Okay.
Um, yeah, they're super cool, and they're probably my favorite out of the complex just from working with them. Um, I really enjoy Mex Mex, so yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and that one on the thumbnail is probably one of my favorite that I've seen. And I know my what I have seen is probably not a whole lot, but it's a really nice animal. That one was that's why when I saw that picture, I was like, that's the thumbnail. There it is.
Yeah, thank you. That's a special one for sure. I talked to John, and he said he's produced a couple that look similar, and they tend to like fade that bright color over time and turn more
Okay.
gray. So I'm really hoping that'll keep that white look. Um, we'll see. But overall, even without the white, he's still a beautiful snake. Like the reds are popping and it has a cool pattern. So it's definitely not going anywhere. It's staying here. So I like that one a
Yeah,
lot.
for sure. And then you got some Alterna stuff as well. I know.
Yeah. So right now I only have one alternate pair. I have a Highway 277 locality, and they're like,
Okay.
in my opinion, some of the nicest looking snakes I've seen. It's a really cool pair. I brumated them and I bred them. I don't know if the female's too young or what, but I I did not get a clutch from them. But I had like 3 or 4 other alternate pairs um, last year, and I ended up selling a bunch of them just because I was trying to buy some different lizard projects and stuff, which I don't regret, but I definitely want to get more Alterna. And I'm talking to some people that have some good alternate collections, and I'm gonna get some more locality
Nice.
pairs, and that's something I'm really excited about. I kind of want them to be a bulk of my collection as well. But once I get a clutch, we'll see how hard they are to get feeding because I know they're challenging as well. But they're beautiful
Yeah,
snakes. I really like them.
absolutely.
I'm planning on going to West Texas here eventually and finding some of the wild. Same with Arizona. I want to take an Arizona trip, like northern Arizona, and find some pyros. That'll be cool. I'm kind of getting big into
Okay.
herping, so that's kind of a big thing with the king snakes as well. Is like you can find them here pretty much. Like a lot of the stuff I work with, you can actually go out
Yeah,
and find them in the States, which is unlike some of the Asian stuff or whatever. Like it's not as big of a trip to go and find the species you're looking for, which I think is pretty cool.
absolutely. Cool. Um, in terms of just overall collection on the Mexicana stuff, did I miss anything? Were there any other species that we didn't talk about there?
No, right now, yeah, I only have Mex and Durango Mountain Kings. I had some Leonis, but I ended up selling them, and then I have my Arizona Mountain Kings. I
Okay.
have Mexican Black King snakes, but they're not really in that complex.
Yeah.
I have a collection in them as well. But yeah, as far as Mexicana goes, we covered it.
Yeah, so I would like you to do now, if you can, I want you to go through the whole spectrum of what your kind of husbandry looks like, your go-to. I assume it's pretty much the same for all three. But yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of want you to go through the whole thing. Temps, what you're keeping them in, humidity, if at all, and then your even like the breeding processes like brumation and all of that good stuff. If you could kind of run through all of that.
yeah. So I keep all my Mexicana complex Kings in 32 quart tubs. I use sandy chips, keeping it nice and simple. A water dish, and then I'll have normally a couple hide boxes. It was breeding season, right? So I had a lay box in there with some sphagnum moss, and I actually just kept them in there because they seem to like that humid hide quite a bit, especially for shedding. So
Yeah.
um, the past like couple months, I've been keeping the humid hide in with them and changing out the moss when I need to. But they're super easy going. They like it a little bit cooler, and generally speaking, so ambient temperatures like in the 70s, mid 70s or so. Hotspot of like 85 is pretty good, which is in the back of the enclosure. I use it like the heat, like the heat cable stuff that
Yep.
like there's like a track underneath my rack, and you can kind of fit it in there, and it'll get them nice and warm. You don't want to get them too hot, so I actually had to buy an AC unit because my room's on the top floor of my house, and it gets pretty dang hot in the summertime. So
Yeah.
I have that running quite a bit, and but it does a good job at keeping them cool because, like I said, you don't want to get them too hot. But yeah, like feeding, just feed them once a week. I don't feed too large, medium adult mouse, small adult mouse. Some of the Mex they get pretty big. They'll eat like a large adult mouse, but like you're not feeding them big prey very much. And
Okay.
um, yeah, like very very simple. Let's see. I think I covered temps. Humidity. I don't even like gauge humidity in there. Like the sandy chips, you can't really get them humid or whatever because they'll start to mold. So there's
Yeah.
like really not much. It's just whatever the humidity in my room is, which probably isn't very high, like in the 30s or something like that. And they seem to do fine, even with shedding. Like as long as they have a water bowl in there and it kind of keeps the ambient humidity up like a fair bit, then they shed fine. And like I said, that sphagnum moss in the egg box helps out a lot.
Nice.
And then for breeding, like I said, I kind of had a mishap with the Durangos, so I'm still new to this, right? It's only like my second year. So next year
Yeah.
I'll try to brumate that specific group a little longer, but I normally brumate in around November, and I just put them in my garage, and I kind of build like a styrofoam kind of like box around them because it does get pretty
Okay.
cold. It'll get down into the 30s sometimes, which is stressful, right? So I got to kind of keep an eye on them and make sure that my garage doesn't get too cold. But generally speaking, like in the mid 40s is good, especially for the montane stuff. And I brumate them for like 3 months. I think with the Durangos, like I said, I'll do a little longer. Um, Take them out of brumation, let them acclimate for a couple weeks, then start feeding them. And then springtime, I take them up in around March, feed them for a few weeks, and then start pairing them up. And a lot of the snakes I just keep in groups throughout the breeding season until I get eggs or until she's ovulating. Then I'll take the female or the male out. But like the Durangos, I'll keep them in a group for majority of the breeding season.
Okay. Yeah. So you basically you'll cohab them without any issue, basically for that time.
Yeah, like the Mex I'll separate after like a week or so, and then that's about it. Yeah, the Pyros I kept together this year, and I got a good clutch from them, no problems. The Durangos I kept together. I do separate for feeding, obviously, just in case something happens. But other than that, they live fine together, and I haven't had any problems. I think like with the king snake cannibalism stuff, that's like more of like the Cal Kings and Mexican blacks and stuff. So
Okay.
with my Mexican blacks, I was real careful, but the Mexicana stuff, they eat lizards and small stuff, so I wasn't really concerned about that, and I had no problems. And last year I didn't either. So
Nice. All
yeah.
right. And what about the baby so far this year? How has that been overall? You have any trouble ones or
So this year I've only had one snake clutch hatch out so far. It was a Mex clutch. I tried feeding them last night and none of them ate. That's just kind of typical. I just did unscented, like regular frozen thawed, extra small pinkies,
yeah.
and none of them took them. But that's kind of expected. So I have a little skink that I caught in Central Oregon, and I'm going to use that for scenting. That's kind
Okay.
of what you got to do. Just fence lizards or skinks or um, some sort of lizard, basically. I'll use those for scenting. And last year it worked out pretty good. But we'll see how this season goes. Like I said, I had one clutch. I think I have 5 or 6 clutches incubating. So not a whole bunch of snakes hatching this year, but the ones that will hatch should be pretty cool.
I missed what you said at the end there. I'm sorry, it glitched.
Oh, no problem. I just said I have like 5 or 6 clutches hatching, and not a whole bunch of snakes hatching this year, but the ones that are hatching should be pretty cool.
Okay.
That's
Nice.
basically, yeah, sums it up. Yeah, they're right now they're all still in the same like tub, so I keep them in a tub until they shed out. I have like a 6-quart rack, and I'll keep them all together in there on some damp paper towel. Once they shed out, I'll separate them into their own little. I use like the um like little Tupperware containers with like the blue lids. They're pretty small, and I'll keep them individually in there until they're old enough to go into like a rack, like a 6-quart tub. But they honestly, they all sell pretty much before they're big enough to go in a 6-quart, anyways. But once they're feeding, they're pretty easy to get going. But just getting them feeding is the tough part. But I have that skink, like I said, so scenting shouldn't be a problem. And fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we'll have to brumate the babies or like a cis feed, but hopefully things will go well. We'll see.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I've had a few people on here say it. If stuff really doesn't get going, instead of, trying to shove a pinky down, just send them into brumation, basically. I know a few people have like sworn by it.
Yeah,
Who have put
so
them on
that's
the show.
I think that's gonna be my strategy this year. So last year I had a couple Durangos and a couple. Actually, no, just some Durangos that I didn't get information early enough, and I had to resort to assist feeding. And the one I held back, the female, actually, she was assist feeding for a while. Now she's taking them on her own, like no problem. But I think as long as you get them into brumation when they still have proper body weight, then there's no problem, and you'll try again in the spring. So I'm going to try that this year because, like I said, last year I just didn't get them in soon enough, so I couldn't try that technique. I had to use like mouse tails, which is a pain in the ass, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool, man. So this year was your like second official breeding season?
Yes. So last year was my first time ever breeding snakes, and then this
Okay.
year's my second. So yeah, I bred like leopard geckos one time, like a few years ago, but other than that, this is like my
Nice.
first. Last year was the first year with the snakes. This year is a first for like some more species of snake, and I'm doing some monitors and some geckos. So it's
Yeah.
been a pretty big deal for me, and I'm pretty like I said, I'm pretty proud of myself, and it's been a good year so far.
I was gonna say, like, how does that feel, man? Because I mean, just going off of my experience, the first time I produced snakes, it was one clutch with the one female snake I had in 2017. Then the second time was the same exact thing in 2019, and it really wasn't until the last couple of years that I was producing like more than one clutch of snakes. Um, this year is actually going to be decent even without Texas rat snake babies, but I almost feel like it's good to like work into the bigger numbers because it can be daunting. It's overwhelming, and before you know it, you go from your main collection to now adding on
Yeah.
all these babies. So I kind of want to hear from you. What was that experience like switching that dynamic? Because now you have all these little mouths to feed. You have way more stuff cooking this year, like you said. So, what's your game plan? How are you kind of diverting your attention?
Yeah, so it was a big deal for me last year. I kind of got into it pretty heavy. So I don't know how many clutches I had, but I had like Durangos and Mex Mex and Nelson's Milks and corn snakes. I had a lot of baby snakes last year, and I realized how much work it actually was. Like, it's not just, okay, you have these babies, you gotta clean them and water them and throw food in there once a week. No, you gotta like sit there a lot of hours, a lot of time at night, making sure these things eat, making sure they're
And
healthy and clean.
and the amount of rodents you need to have, like
Yeah,
little
you
babies.
gotta stock up, dude. Yeah, like the outside freezer. Yeah, you gotta stock it up. Make sure that you always have food ready. And um, so yeah, it was a big deal. It was super exciting though. I was living out my childhood dream
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much, so but this year I definitely so last year I didn't have a lizard in time to scent, right? So I was kind of freaking out and had to go catch one on a trip to go see my friend in Central Oregon. And luckily it was in time and all the snakes didn't have any problems. But this year I already have one ready to go, and I know a lot more. I have more space planned. I have a whole hatchling rack now because last year I just had all these like Tupperware containers like stacked up, just like
Okay.
right? So I got an actual hatchling rack, so I have more space.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a crazy feeling when you just like open a lid and you see a bunch of baby snakes, and it's really like a special moment for me, in my opinion, because you get to see like something that you worked hard for, and you
Yeah.
put a lot of time, money, effort into this. And so yeah, I always get really excited about it. So I'm really excited this year for some new stuff because last year was cool. This year's going to be even cooler, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Yeah. And speaking of, you mentioned time and money, and like I feel the need to ask, at your age, how did you source the funds for your collection? Because just based on the animals you have, I know you had to have spent a good deal of money, and you are 19, so I don't know if you're working full time or what your deal is, but like where did that all come from?
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, everything's paid for by myself. I
That's awesome.
work
Hell
hard
yeah.
for everything, and so I've been working at Safeway since I was 16. And basically all my paychecks go to like straight to my animals, and I have got some really good deals. Shout out to the people like Rod and um, some other projects I've gotten for good deals, and payment plans have been a huge deal for me. I can't obviously spend like a few $1,000s at a time, right? So payment plans have been a really big help. But I work construction. My dad kind of manages a construction company, and
Okay.
it pays really, really well. So for the past, like last summer and this summer, I'm working construction, flagging, and we're doing road work basically. But so those paychecks are really, really good. And then I spend a lot of money. I spent a lot of money last year on whatever I sold. I kind of put back into my
Yep.
business, and I basically, truthfully, yeah, I didn't really save any money at all last year. I spent like every penny I got from work and from my animals onto these projects because in my mindset, like I'm living at home right now. I don't have to pay rent. I don't have a crazy car payment. I don't have all these like basic life expenses, So I'm kind
Yeah.
of taking advantage of the money that I can put towards these expensive projects now versus like in a couple years when I have rent to pay and grocery bills and all this stuff where I can't really afford like to spend a couple $1,000s on a snake or two. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful that my parents allowed me to do this here because I'm sure
Yep.
some parents would not be chill with their kid like having like 100 or whatever animals like upstairs. So um that's a big help. But yeah, man, it's been a lot of work and um yeah, just I guess dedication really.
Yeah. No, but I mean I got to give you props again there because that's the right way to do it. You could see kids sometimes, people in our age group. I see it a lot in ball pythons, more so the ball python side of things, um, where it's very clearly like daddy's money. It's like daddy's money bought you a whole big collection, and like when I say a big collection, I mean a big collection. And these dudes look like straight ballers, but like especially from because I built everything I have from the ground up by myself too. Um, it's cool seeing other people do the same thing and being responsible with money and yeah, all that good stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, so I think that's kind of also why my parents are more chill about it because when I was younger, like 10, 11, whatever, my mom was buying the crickets, my mom was buying the pinky mice from the pet store. And once I really like dove into this myself and I had a job, they're not really involved, they're not paying for anything. They're not man like that they don't have to take care of my animals for me, I'm all self-sufficient and stuff.
right.
So my dad asks that I help out with the electric bill sometimes because as you can imagine, gets expensive having a ton of lights in the bedroom and whatnot. So
Yeah,
as long as I do my share and keep everything clean and I'm using my own money, they're cool about it. And obviously I won't be here forever. So I'm just grateful for what I have now and the position that I'm in to be able to spend this money. And
let me tell you, as someone who moved out recently, milk the home experience while you can, man.
that's what I've heard, dude. Like Joel was just telling me that. He's like, dude, try to live there as long as you can. And like I said, I'm going through community college, so that helps a lot. I'm
Yeah.
not spending 30 grand on tuition every year and I can live at
Yep.
home and just do my thing. So yeah.
That's awesome. Hell yeah, dude. Um, all right. Uh and yeah, just to get into some other stuff, dude, you had a clutch of rhinos this year. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that
I'm a
was
big I'm a big fan of rhinos. The channel is big on rhinos. Something special coming up on the podcast soon that I'll throw out there to the people. If you're watching this when it's actually coming out, something's in the works very soon. And when I say very soon, I mean very soon. But rhinos, channel's a big fan. I'm a big fan of rhinos. You had a clutch of rhinos this year. What was that like?
it was amazing, dude. I was super, super excited. I was actually I was on a road trip in Utah when that clutch was laid. And so I was kind of freaking out, right? Because I wasn't home and I wasn't there to manage everything. And luckily my dad and my brother was super helpful and they sent me pictures and I kind of told them what to do. And I was driving back from Southern Utah that day when the clutch was laid. So we were supposed to stop in Boise and sit the night at my aunt's house. But I was telling my friend, like, dude, I'm kind of stressed out. I think we should just book it all the way home. So we drove literally 19 hours in one day all the way home. And I thought it was 5 eggs, but I actually got 9 eggs. One was a
Yeah,
slug, but
I
yeah,
see
so I
that.
got that pair a few months ago. Um, it wasn't from a breeder, it wasn't from some big person. It was just they were pets, and she had them since they were babies. One's from Rob Stone, the other is from Terry. I
Burwell.
forget- Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, they're from reputable breeders, and I drove up to Washington to pick them up, and she had already paired them for me. So she broodmated
Oh
them,
wow.
and then decided to sell them, so she paired them up, and then for a couple weeks, I got them, or like a week or so, I got them, paired them up again, and I honestly wasn't expecting the clutch because she said they didn't lay last year. Um, but I started noticing the female got kinda chunky, and then she went through a pre-lay shed, and like I said, that was the time for my trip, so I was kinda stressed out about it, but I made sure there was a lay box in there, and I was kinda contemplating, like, I didn't know if I should leave the water bowl in there or not because sometimes snakes lay in their water, so that was also, like, a stressor for me,
Yeah.
but I left the water in because like, rhinos, they need to hydrate, so left the water in, ended up being fine, and I got back, and I was super excited. I was like that's probably the highlight of my year. The rhino rat snakes and the Kimberly rock monitors, those clutches are, like, huge for me. Super, super exciting and super cool, so I was stoked on that.
Yeah. And I guess it was like 2, 3 weeks ago now. I assume those eggs are still looking good.
Yeah, they're looking perfect, all 8 of them. They're looking great. I think they were laid, like, yeah, June 20th or something like that. So, yeah, all looking good. Hopefully, it goes well. Hopefully, the babies aren't too challenging to get going. Um, I gotta start thinking about that too because obviously they're fish eaters, so
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. I'm kinda worried about, like, if I have to feed live fish, about, like, the parasites and stuff that you can get from pet store fish, so that's kinda stressing me out a little bit, but I'll have to do some more research and figure that out. So,
Right.
we'll see.
Yeah. I'm really hoping I could get mine to breed next year. My female's absolutely ready to go. My male is the questionable one because he's still on the younger side. So he's still like a lot smaller than she is. But so I'm just trying to kind of beef him up with food right now so that I can hopefully like put them together in the fall and let them cohab through brumation
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
season.
Yeah, I saw your video about that today, about the enclosure. It looks great, by the way, but, yeah,
Thank
your
you.
female looks awesome. The male doesn't look, like, too small, like you said. I think
Yeah,
he
it's just so weird in comparison, and they're so long and lanky that it's just like I don't know. He looks so tiny compared to her, but I could tell in my hand like he's been growing like a lot and really
yeah,
fast at this point. So I think I'll be good, but I want to get him beefed up these
yeah,
last
definitely.
couple months.
Yeah, I noticed your male, he's pretty chill too, dude. Mine is not like that at all. My female's okay. She's like I don't really take take 'em out ever just because 'cause they're not really I don't try to handle them too much, especially, like, after she laid the clutch and stuff, but my male, like, he's kind of a challenge. He's, like, super squirmy. They don't really bite, but they're, like, super quick, and they just move around,
He
and they kinda
he
go
is
crazy.
squirmy. I was holding on to him good in that
Yeah.
clip in the video. Yeah, he likes to squirm a lot.
Yeah, that's kinda how they are, but, yeah, that was super exciting for me, so good luck with yours, man. Hopefully, they'll give you a clutch next year, and that'll
That
be
would be
super
dope.
cool as well. I'm planning on holding
That
back,
would be
like,
great.
one of my babies and either trading one with Joel or whoever is willing, basically, so I can get another 1.1 that aren't related, so that'll be cool as well, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Cool, man. Um, let's see. Besides the rhinos, I noticed, and I believe we talked about it. Like you've been taking an interest into some of the Asian rat snakes, which obviously is just quite a bit different than your Mexicana. So, what was the inspiration to start getting into some of those species? The
Um,
rhinos, I know you have the Ridley eye, um, right? You have Ridley eye.
yeah, I have a trio of Ridley Eye, and, that's it for my Rhino rat or for my Asian rat snakes. I wanna get some bamboo rat snakes. I know you have the Coxeye and you have Volante, right?
Yeah, I have a pair of Volante. They're still on the
Yeah.
small side though.
I've been looking at those for a while. I almost bought a few pairs, but I saw this adult pair of Ridley on Morph Market, and I inquired about them, and I was like super interested. But then I saw Matthew Most had posted a female, and she was a 2024, and I inquired on that, and then he ended up telling me he had like a trio available. So I basically bought a trio of Ridley Eye from him,
Nice.
and They are interesting, dude. They're really cool. They're really pretty. They haven't really hit the like super colorful part yet. Two of them are pretty chill. One of them is like a total jerk. Like this big female I have, she's like I can't really touch her. She bites all the time, and their musk is super weird. It's like a earthy, like a gross, like earthy kind of smell. It's very interesting. But I just yeah, I like the colors. They're honestly not too different in my experience in like husbandry wise. They're not too different from the Mexicana stuff, just like temperature wise. Like they like it a little cooler and just more humid, pretty much. In my experience, the rhino rat snakes, I don't really keep them very humid, just because I'm kind of paranoid about skin problems with them, like the
Yeah,
water and stuff. I don't want to risk it, but yeah, I mean, I think they're really cool. I want to get into some more Gonyosoma species. I like the Oxycephalum a lot,
yeah,
and the bamboo rat snakes. I want to get into those, and some more beauty rat snakes as well. But beauty rat snakes, they just get really big right now, so I don't really have the space to get a bunch of big colubrids. And like
right.
same with like dry marcon. I really want to get some dry marcon, but I just don't have the room right now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you have good taste, man. But you know, um, sometimes you gotta just like, and this is how I feel, and maybe it's just a word like wise words. Just like sometimes you gotta take a step back and just be like, okay, I could keep this and maybe not this, and just go step by step. But I think you're gonna settle
100%,
into
yeah,
what you want.
that's kind of my problem. I kind of want everything, and I'm always like,
Hey, I'm
yeah,
the same way.
if I should get rid of these and get this, or try to buy this or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like I'm really excited to get my own place and just grow. And the end goal, I really want to have like some sort of showroom or like facility people can tour and stuff. But we'll see what happens, man. I have quite a few years, so
Nice,
yeah.
awesome. Um, let's see. And I know you have a few Mexican black kings, but other than that, did I miss any other snake species for the most part? Oh, I see is that a Womo python here?
I got a pair of Womas.
Nice.
I have a silver blonde Trans-Pecos rat snake. I need to get a male
Oh
for
yeah,
her.
I saw that
I
also.
love subox. Yeah, I really want to get some more of those. Um, but yeah, I think you got everything. I think we covered it all. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
And then I see you're really into different lizards. You mentioned the monitors. I saw you just got that clutch of Kimberly rocks,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah, I like my Aussie stuff, dude. I like Australian geckos and the monitor lizards, Odatria. They're all really cool. So that's a big passion of mine as well. So um, yeah, it's a big part of my hobby and my I guess business. I have a lot
Yeah,
of those as well. So yeah.
awesome. Um, with a collection getting to this size and with everything you're doing, school, work, like where are you finding the time? Is it really like any free chance you get you're working on the collection, or like what's your kind of mentality as, day by day?
Yeah, so weekends are a lot of work pretty much. I do a lot of cleaning and stuff on weekends and feeding. Um, But it's pretty much an everyday thing, you know how it goes. Just I get home from work at night and I'll take time to clean and feed. A lot of my like geckos and stuff are nocturnal. So I'll typically feed the snakes and the geckos like later in the day. And
Okay.
then I try to spot clean a couple times a week, top off waters and stuff. But it's definitely like an everyday like thing. I always tell people I have 3 jobs, right? Because I have my grocery store job, I work construction, then I have to go home and do all this stuff. And I've learned that like you really have to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process of like obviously cleaning poop isn't fun, right? But you got to kind of like appreciate the fact that that's what you got to do in order to like have this collection and have this hobby and do what you like. You got to do the dirty work as well. So yeah, it's a lot of work and it's definitely a daily task, but finding time honestly hasn't been too challenging. And also it's summer right now. I'm not in school right now, so I have some more spare time to work on things and pay more attention. But during the school year, it can get a little bit tight. But like wintertime is a pretty chill time because all the geckos are brumating, all the snakes are brumating. So the wintertime, it's honestly pretty nice to have like a few months to just relax and mainly focus on the monitor lizards and the stuff that doesn't really get super cold. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it hasn't been too challenging for me yet. And I definitely need to realize like when I need to kind of slow down with what I'm getting and kind of like take a step back if it gets too much and if it gets like overwhelming. I gotta keep that in mind as well. So, but overall, it's been
That's
fairly reasonable.
cool. Um, Out of the stuff you're, or actually, no, not out of the stuff you're keeping. If you could only strip your collection down to one snake species and one lizard species, which would you choose?
That's a really hard question. Lizards would be Kimberly rock monitors without a question. I think those are probably my
Okay.
favorite reptiles in general. Like they're amazing animals. The snakes, like I really like the rhino rat snakes. Like I think everyone likes them a lot, but they really are like a magical snake. They're super cool. But I like being able to handle my snakes as well. You know what I mean? And you can't really take them out too often. So I don't know, man. Like honestly, any of the Mexicana complex, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, probably a Mex or a Durango Mountain King, but that's a really difficult question. I mean,
That's why I had to ask it. I got to
yeah,
ask the
like
tough questions.
what about you? Like, I know you like the
Oh
Texas
man.
and the bamboo rat snakes and stuff. Like,
If I had to be completely honest, if I had to only keep one snake species, I think I would choose the rhinos also.
yeah, I mean, like it's just,
If I was limited to just one and I was like, and I could do whatever the hell I wanted with the species, I think I would have to go rhinos.
I think that's just like an answer for a lot of people. Like, they're such a unique snake. So I
But like
kind
I fight
of,
between the Texas and the rhinos a lot.
yeah, that makes sense. What's it like keeping the Texas rat snakes? I don't really work with too many North American rat snakes yet. Obviously, I have the subox, but I want to get into some more species as time goes on.
I'm super simple with my Texas rats, man. I keep them ambient in here, which is like mid to high 70s for the most part. Same thing as you. I actually just started doing the coarse Sani chip. Either that or the cocoa bedding, like cocoa chips, which I know one is a little more moist, one is drier. Now that I moved, or actually, I find the Sani chips to be a lot easier to clean for the Texas rats because they just poop a lot.
Yeah,
Especially the adults, or even the babies too. You feed them one meal, they're pooping 2 to 3 times from that meal. And especially these big animals where I'm feeding them, large mice once a week
yeah,
or bigger or two. Um, they're just pooping a lot and I'm just always cleaning. That's a lot easier to spot clean and replace also. So
yeah. I get it. I like the sand chips a lot. I used to have problems like when I was first starting out. I would get I forget what I used. I think I got like this bedding from like Walmart or something like that. Like this just like wood shaving stuff. And I would always get like those little tiny wood mites. You know what I'm talking about? Like those little,
yeah.
it would drive me insane. And for the past like 2 years on the sand chips, I haven't had a single one. So
I've
that's
seen them I've seen them come from the cocoa substrate as well,
yeah,
which if we're being like in reality, those mites are not an issue. They are not snake mites. They are
exactly. Yeah.
they're little white bugs and they're not a problem to your animals. That said, obviously I know
They
having
drive
a
me
bug
nuts.
in your collection is not the best look, but it happens. They're harmless. That's what you can kind of take away from it. I'm sure everyone has had them at some point
Yeah,
or
I'm
another.
sure that it's just something that happens, but that's what I had to learn. And I think Joel told me about the Sandy chips, and I ordered them in the big. I'm sure you do too, like the big just whatever it's called, like the 40-pound bag.
Yeah,
And it
I
lasts quite
just
a
had to
while.
re-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, otherwise with the Texas, I mean, pretty simple, man. This year I am happy. I've said it before. I'm gonna be able to do like a real brumation where I could actually get these animals cold. Um, and I'm pretty confident I should have a real nice year next year with everything going on.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, best of luck, dude. That should be a cool project for sure.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been so sporadic with the Texas. It's like clutch here, clutch there. I did technically have a clutch a few weeks ago. Those eggs, I don't know which I didn't. I don't know if I said publicly or not, but those eggs all went bad. They weren't good. They
Gotcha.
looked funny. They looked funny when she laid them, and I was like, I don't know. But yeah, they all went bad. So it is what it is. But next year should be really good, which I'm excited for. So
Yeah, that's definitely got to be exciting, man. Good luck with that.
thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, dude. Are you considering coming to Colubrid Fest this year?
I really was. I was talking to Joel. I was talking to John. I really want to make it. I'm still kind of debating that. I was pretty set on going for a while, but just like with all the expenses, I'm obviously super far away up in Oregon, so it's
Right.
like the flight expense, then you got to ship them out, then you got to stay for a hotel, and
Or at
um,
least just to attend. If you're not going to vend, all I'm going to say is consider just coming to attend
I
if
really
the animals are causing stress.
I really wanted to vend. That was like my big thing. I might still try. We'll see if there's spots open, but um, my uncle used to live in Indiana, and he has
Ah,
some friends out there, I think, so I could maybe stay with them. But I'm definitely still considering it, and I have a couple months to decide. But
yeah.
obviously, I got to get on that and get some tickets soon if I want to go and plan some flights. But it was something I was considering for a while, and we'll see. I don't think I'll make it this year just because it's kind of a stretch, but
Yeah.
I really wish I could make it. If I don't, we'll see if I make it or not. But so I guess that question's kind of up in the air.
Okay. Yeah. But I think you'll enjoy and appreciate the experience. So,
100%. Yeah, I want to meet some people and get my name out there. And there's obviously
yeah.
like I said, the expo's up here. I'm actually going to an expo tomorrow. I'm trying to sell some geckos, but like you see a lot of ball pythons and crested geckos, and like I said, the king snakes and a lot of the colubrids that aren't as common. So I was super excited if I could make it out here to Colubrid Fest. It'd be cool to see like just the special colubrids that I like. You know what I mean? It'd
Oh
be.
yeah.
I think it's a great idea, and if they could ever do a Colubrid Fest West, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah. Cool. Um let's see. With you coming into the hobby this young and everything you've seen, obviously you're on social media, you got a decent following, but like what's something um that you've seen, over the last couple of years just within the hobby that you're excited for just going forward in general?
Um, I don't know, man. Personally, obviously, I'm still kind of new to this, but I'm making a lot of friends, and I'm really excited to. I have some herp trips that I really want to plan, and just like meeting new people is really, really important to me and special for me to kind of meet people that share the same interests and learn more and see some private collections. Um, I think like when it comes to not just colubrids, but some of the animals I'm working with, like some of the geckos I'm working with, seem to be getting a lot more interest, and it's gonna be cool to. I have like some collaboration sort of things going on that should be cool. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and like social media, like you said, I'm really trying to push my social media forward, and I've learned how difficult it is to like stay consistent and try to gain a
Oh yeah.
following. It's definitely not easy, but like I have a YouTube channel that I post like 3 videos on, and I learned just like
Okay.
how like difficult it is to like take the time to record and edit and post. But I want to try to do that more, and I'm really just excited to meet new people in the hobby and I guess spread my love with other people. Basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and you got plenty of time to do that, man. And you'll see over the years, and um, the more you keep breeding, obviously, I think you've gained a nice following for yourself so far, and this is only like year 2 of breeding for you. So just imagine what it's going to be in the next 5.
Yeah, I'm excited about that and see how much I can grow. And
Yeah.
expand the social media following. Yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. Um, what about the, just the colubrid hobby in general? Because I feel like it's a different space than the rest of um the industry. The geckos are kind of their own thing. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
the ball pythons, which I have one foot in each like circle, I guess, so to speak. So I get to kind of see a bunch of different things. But like, what are your thoughts on the overall, um, just everything having to do with colubrids? How has the experience been for you so far in that community?
It's been great. So I guess yeah, like the main bulk of my questions that I ask and interactions I have are from the Colubrid, I guess, hobby or the Colubrid, like, industry group, whatever you want to call it. I'm in the Facebook groups a lot, and I have met a lot of people through there, and it's super supportive and nice. And I think the Mexicano complex king snakes are kind of getting a lot more recognition. They've been around for a long time, but I think that with your podcast, you've had a few people on that have
Yeah,
talked about them, and I really hope that more people show interest and get into them because they're amazing snakes, and that's something I'm excited about. And but yeah, I think I'm gonna stick around for a while and make a lot more friends, and I'm really excited about that. Um, yeah, like it's been great overall, and I think it's a pretty encouraging environment to be in, and I'm happy to be a part of it, and happy there's people like you that'll invite someone on that's a newcomer and be all friendly and supportive and encouraging. It means a lot to me, honestly. So yeah,
yeah,
it's been
man,
great.
of course. Yeah, man. The way I see it, like, I don't want to say I'm nobody in the hobby, but like, everyone, I'm just the guy who decided to get on the mic and talk to people publicly. And with
Mhm.
that said, I find that I have a responsibility to, you know, push people forward who are doing good things in the world of colubrids. And everything I've seen from you is that you're doing the right stuff. So, as long as you keep doing that, man, you're pretty much unstoppable. And as long as you keep making badass animals like you are, it
Yeah,
doesn't get better than that.
thank you, dude.
So,
I really really appreciate it for sure. It means a lot.
yeah, of course. All right, cool, man. Let's see. Uh, anything else we kind of missed? Um, no, I guess I kind of want to get into some of my wrap up questions here. Obviously, you've been into snakes for a long time, like you said, most of your life here, but and you've been in the hobby, but there's also, and I'm sure you've seen, I don't know how much you've seen it or if you have at all, there's been some doom and gloom in the hobby over the last couple of years, but what is it that really keeps that fire burning and your passion going for working with these reptiles? Because I mean, you just seem fully excited the way I am. So, what is it that keeps you motivated?
Um, Honestly, it's just been like a lifelong passion, and once I really got into it, over the last few years, like it's kind of all I see myself doing. Like I'm going to college right now, and high school. I got good grades, and I'm a fine student, but it's not. I don't like school, and I really am
Yeah,
not. Like I'm doing business classes at college just so I kind of understand what it means to run a business, what it's like, all this stuff. But it's really not where my heart's at. Obviously, I don't really care to do it. I'm kind of just doing it because I think it's probably the right call. But um, it's kind of been everything I'm putting my energy and time and money and efforts into, and I just like since I was a kid, dude, I watched Brian Barczyk all the time, and
oh yeah,
I thought it was like impossible. Like, how does this guy have this like immense collection, and he can have a career off that and do what he likes? And um, as I got older, I kind of realized like, okay, that's not impossible. Like you can like really follow your passions and do what you like and still have a good life. So I don't know, man. I've always enjoyed them, and I think that um, I don't think I'll ever get out of it. I just think it's just something that I've always enjoyed, and now that I'm so deep into it, like it really is like a fascination. Like I'm fixated on reptiles and snakes and all this stuff, and it's really all I see
Yeah.
myself doing in a way. So yeah, hopefully it all works out and I'll stick with it and go far essentially.
Yeah. So that is kind of your goal. You want to be doing reptiles full time, if you could.
If I could, yeah, I hope so. Like I said, I really um, would like to. I want to move somewhere where it's nicer out because obviously Oregon, it's nice for a couple months, but majority of the year it's not the greatest
Right.
weather. But I want to be able to have like outdoor exhibits and a big like warehouse showroom that people can come into and see. And I just think that'd be amazing. And I maybe even branch out. Like I love birds, like I love parrots and stuff, and different mammals would be cool as well. Just like not like a zoo, but I think a big dream of mine is to have like a yeah, like a reptarium sort of thing, or I don't know, man. You know, I have a lot of ideas that are always going through my head, but end goal I think
Nice.
would be to have a cool big like collection that people can come see and be able to be profitable off of what I like and just yeah, like better the world where people can learn and you know, like myself, younger kids can see that okay, someone my age can follow their passions and do what they like. So I don't know, kind of where my mind's at.
Yeah. And with that said, again, going back to our age, how much do you interact with other people close to our age in the hobby? Because for me, the answer is really not too much at all. I talk to my friends are all older. I want to know if you have a similar experience or if you've developed like a friend group at all, whether it's over social media or even locally. Like what has your experience been?
So, like generally speaking, kind of same as you. Like, there's some older guys that I talk to quite a bit. Um, I have like a friend group. There's some guys in California that do geckos, not so much snakes, but they're closer to our age. They're like 24, 25, 26,
Yeah.
27, that sort of range. But I haven't seen any like legitimate teenagers that I've interacted with.
Okay.
Generally speaking, I don't think. I mean, I met this kid who herps a lot. He doesn't keep anything, but that's kind of the closest that I can kind of recall of a like actual younger person that I kind of made friends with and we go out and hurt. But that's in terms of like breeding, yeah, not really. Like mid-20s, probably the youngest I've seen and I've
Yeah.
like interacted with.
It's interesting because I feel like, a lot of the guys that are like, I'll call them closer to my parents' age now, they started when they were around my age or even younger. Um, but I feel like more lately, the people our age, it's a little more rarer for them to like get into breeding the way we want to. There's a lot of them that are just pet keepers. Which I find interesting. And this was also something we talked about in our talk at Colubrid Fest last year. Maybe it's just like, kids our age, like cost of living these days, and like they just can't afford to keep snakes the way we can. I don't know. I don't want to put words in other people's mouths, but I find it personally interesting. I feel like there's just the way the ages are working, it's not making sense to me because I feel like there should be like a coalition of like young breeders that are in
Yeah,
their like teens and 20s, but
like yeah, like a
it
new
seems very few and far between.
yeah, I've noticed that as well. Like you said, there should be like a new wave of younger guys coming in, which I think there are, but just not to the extent that there should be. And that makes sense. Cost of living nowadays is crazy. So like I couldn't be doing this if I had to pay rent, like, 1,500, $2,000 plus a month, like whatever it might be. Like that's absurd to try to pay all that and then also have a collection that you're maintaining and have a job. Like I understand. So that is definitely a potential factor. But yeah, it confuses me as well. So I don't really know, man.
Yeah. Well, maybe after people hear this, we'll have a bunch of them reach out to us. So if
Yeah,
you're in the age range of 19 to 25, let us know.
yeah, I hope to inspire some people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. If you now we kind of talked long-term future just a couple minutes ago, but if you could say like short term in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see yourself taking West Coast Colubrids? Where do you see your collection at? What animals do you want to be keeping? Like, what's your foreseeable future for now?
So generally speaking, pretty similar to what I have now. Um, Obviously, I would like to be moved out by then and have a bigger place, um, and allow for more room. But in terms of colubrids, like I said, I want to get into more alterna, and I really want to focus on locality specific animals when it comes to like gray banded king snakes and Arizona mountain kings, and even some of the the Mexicana complex stuff. If I can get some different localities, that would be awesome. I want to get, like I said, more into some Asian rat snakes. But generally speaking, kind of similar to what I have now. I don't want to go too crazy until I have obviously a pretty substantial amount of space where I can really give the animals exactly what they need and have exactly what I want pretty much. But yeah, just keep on breeding and honing in on lines. Like I said, I kind of have that patternless line that I'm trying to work with, and
Yeah.
that it's not called like a white line, but that Mex that's more white. I want to take that further, and I really think it'd be amazing to not just in like sooner years, but even long term develop my own line is like a big goal for me to have like
Yeah.
something I created and people can look back and say like, oh, he did that. Like, that'd be really good, really cool for me. So kind of
I
another goal.
think I kind of feel like all colubrid breeders should work towards having their own line. Of course, unless you have like a very monotypic species where there's not a lot of uh, phenotype diversity in like
Yeah,
your normals, but with something that is so variable, like your Mexicana, even like my Texas rat snakes, like is like that should always be a goal. It should never be just breed just to breed and sell
yeah,
animals and keep your nice ones here and there and whatever. It's like there are deeper goals than that, and even I have them too. It's like always going to be pushing to the next level and working towards something. So I think that's a good
yeah,
mindset to have.
100% for sure. Hmm.
Cool, man. um my last and final question for you is basically, so imagine you're talking to someone who's either never kept a snake before or they've never kept a colubrid. I'm sure you have a bit of a gecko or a lizard audience. So, like, what's essentially your pitch for why colubrids, or in your case, maybe why a Mexicana king snake? But yeah,
So mainly, I think they're great snakes because they stay really small, right? Like a lot of first time keepers are intimidated by bigger snakes and big like meals. Like you don't want to keep a bunch of big huge rats or whatever. So they stay small. They're pretty docile, especially like Durango Mountain king snakes. Mex can be a little bit more squirmy, but like Arizona Mountain king snakes as well. Like when you're holding these snakes, they're not like really squirmy. They're not biting you. They're not going crazy. So I think that when someone is new to reptile keeping and you hand them a snake that's kind of going crazy, it freaks them out, right? A lot of these snakes are pretty docile. They're easy to keep. You can keep these with like little to no heat, essentially. Like they need some heat, but like ambient temperatures are easy to achieve. You don't need a crazy basking spot. Um, they don't have any crazy like requirements. Like they're generally just ease of care is kind of my pitch for why a Mexicana complex or any king snake for that matter is a good first choice. Um, Colubrids in general, like most colubrids, you can keep fairly similar. Like North American, that is, like corn
yeah,
snakes are great. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, that's kind of my pitch. They're just easygoing and easy to take care of. So nothing too complicated. And they're beautiful,
awesome.
man. Like you can get whatever you want. Like there's so many colors and patterns, and there's kind of something for everybody. Sizes, like you can get a Colubrid that's a foot long as an adult, or you can get a Colubrid that's like 9, 10 feet as adult. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's so much variety. Like it's crazy. So I think there really is something for everyone when it comes to colubrids. So that's kind of why I like them a lot as well.
awesome. All right. Well, yeah, that was a fantastic episode. I really appreciate you coming on tonight. Um, I think you have a very bright future ahead of you. I know you're gonna I can tell from this conversation you're gonna keep working hard, and you'll definitely be back on the show at some point, hopefully to give a part two and where are you now. And I know you're just gonna keep doing good stuff. So, anything left you have to say to the audience before we close this one out?
I don't know, man. Mainly just like thank you guys for supporting me. Anyone who's purchased an animal for me or, um, comments on my posts, like all that stuff means a lot to me. So I really appreciate it. Obviously, being a younger person, it can be intimidating sometimes, but I appreciate the Colubrid community in general has been really, really good to me to start and very encouraging. So just want to say thank you to everybody. So, and thank you for having me on the show, Joe. I really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
all the kind words that you've given me, it's very encouraging. And I was really excited that you asked me to be on the show. Truthfully, I really wanted to come on here and have a conversation. So I really appreciate it.
In all honesty, I should have asked you probably a couple months earlier. You're like, every time I was looking for more guests, your name just kept slipping. And like, we finally messaged each other that one day. I was like, I've been meaning to talk to this kid. So yeah.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, man. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I'll keep you on for the outro here. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this one, this was episode number 73 of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the perspective of two younger guys talking about the hobby a bit. And like we were kind of implying, I hope to see more younger people enter the hobby. Please come start breeding. Get your name out there. We need more of it for sure in our generation. So yeah. Thank you again to fulviusapparel.com for sponsoring Colubrid Corruption. Once again, you need a hat, you need a hoodie, a mug. Did I say hats? A t-shirt, whatever it may be, herp-related apparel. They got the best. Thank you to Justin for supporting Colubrid Corruption. You could use code CC10 to get 10% off your order at fulviusapparel.com. Go check out all the fantastic designs that is on the site. Make sure you leave a like on today's podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Set that reminder bell so you know every single time we go live or post something. I'm trying to get back on the YouTube horse. So, I just posted a video today as of this recording, and I'm going to try to do some more going forward. But yeah, and again, first link in the description goes to the Meteoric Serpents Patreon. That's the best way to get tuned in behind the scenes, get episodes early, get discounts on my production, all that good stuff. But let's see, did I miss anything else? No, and go follow Grayson on social media. I forgot to say that. His link is in the description below for Instagram, and mine as well. But yeah, guys, this was another episode 73 of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast with Grayson from West Coast Colubrids. Again, hope you all enjoyed. Have a fantastic night, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.